Hello and welcome back to Soul Search Sunday with Johnny Tiger on July 25th, 2021. We often hear about triggers. Nowadays, it's like even people who are not into psychology or sociology will mention the word trigger. They'll say, don't do this, that's a trigger for me, and don't say that, that's a trigger for me. As it's been thrown around so often that sometimes we might develop a kind of lack of sensitivity toward when people say trigger. We may think that, well, if it's your trigger, then that's your problem. It's an issue you have to work on, not my problem. Does that sound a little bit callous? Yes, it does. But you know what? The hell of it is true. It is true. Why do I say that it is true? Because I myself have struggled with things that triggered me almost my whole life. And I went from being fairly oblivious to things that would trigger me to being very, very, very aware of what's going on in my head. But even then, even when I'm very aware, I'm 95% of the time, there's still going to be that 5% of the time when a trigger is going to jump out of nowhere and take me by surprise, and next thing I know, I'm out flying off the handle, and I don't even really know why. And here's the thing, somewhere in our brain, evolution, survivalism, have built into our brain a kind of a fail-safe mechanism. This fail-safe mechanism kicks in when we're confused, when things don't make sense, and attempts to reconstruct things in a way that makes sense to us, regardless if the reconstruction is 100% accurate or not. Think back and ask yourself, really be honest with yourself. How many times have you reacted rather extremely to something, and everyone around you said, "Whoa, whoa, take it easy. What's the matter with you?" And then you right away can come up with a gazillion reasons why you are justified to feel the way you do, even though somewhere in your head there is a little voice that says, they might be right. I think you overreacted. What's going on here? But there's a louder voice in your head that says, shut up. I have my reason. This is, I have my reason. Okay, this is what happened, and it's all their fault. And just because other people don't see it, don't feel that way, that doesn't mean I can't feel this way. Because I don't like it, and I'm all confused, and that makes me really angry. I'm just going to get more and more angry because I'm confused. How many times have we done that to people, to our friends, to people we work with, to our family members? And the heck of it is, right at that moment, we feel very self righteous, very justified. We feel entitled to feeling as angry, as extreme as we did at that moment. But it's not until when you finally give yourself a moment to listen to logic, to actually go through, okay, what exactly happened here? And you say to yourself, whoa, yeah, I totally overreacted there. What's going on here? At least the luckier one of us will go through that process of admitting we might be wrong and examining in our head, okay, what exactly happened there? Why did I react that way? Unfortunately, a lot of people in the world do not. My father is one such person. My father has always had anger issue his whole life, but he never felt the need to sit down and look inside himself and try to figure out, okay, why do I feel this strongly about something like this? Why do I feel the need to break the person's face? Why do I feel the need to go to the kitchen and grab a kitchen knife to threaten the person with, even though this person is my own child and that's all he or she's done is get a bad mark in school? What's going on here? No, my father, like many, many people, doesn't want to look inside himself, doesn't feel the need to. As he pointed out to me one time, he said, and I quote, he said, I know how I used to be when I was violent and hurting people. I know it was wrong. But back then, even back then I knew it was wrong. But I didn't care because it was a simple life for me. My world was a simple one. If I'm happy, I make you happy. If I'm not happy, I hurt you. That's it. No why, who, how, where, how come. And like I said, unfortunately, many, many people go through their life living that way. I'm angry, I'm extreme because this is just the way I am. Deal with it or go away. And a lot of people have that kind of attitude. Uh, I'm this way because I'm in a bad mood today. Okay? So, whatever. Sorry. No, you should have known better. Some people deal with it this way. Uh, I'm this way because you have pissed me off many, many times before already. And this is the last straw. Some people say that too. But if we really take a moment to look inside, really sit down and ask ourselves the logical questions. Okay, was that really necessary? Was that really that big of a deal? What's wrong with me? I think sometimes this is the most important and yet the scariest question that a lot of people refuse to ask themselves. A lot of people refuse to ask ourselves. It's what's wrong with me? Because we are afraid to find out that there is really something wrong with us. But until you know what is wrong, you can't fix it. Until you know what is wrong, you can't get past it. Like I said, when I was younger, when I was a teenager, I didn't know about triggers. I didn't even know about the concept of triggers. I was a very violent teenager, not in a psychopathic way, although some people would beg to differ. But when I was young, when I was a teenager, I was a dynamite. You say the wrong thing to me, I wouldn't even give you a second chance. I just fly off the handle and either we are not friends anymore forever, I'm not going to do it, have anything to do with you, or I would beat you up. I was constantly out there looking for reasons to fight somebody. I loved fighting. I still do. But back when I was a teenager, I loved fighting in any capacity. I didn't mind hurting people. I didn't mind getting hurt. I just loved fighting so much. And through all this, there was a very detached coldness inside my chest, inside my head. When I fought, I wasn't angry. When I decided to end the friendship, I wasn't angry. Everything was cold, calculated, and very, very gloomy. So imagine my surprise when I started going to counseling, when I started going into psychology myself in college. I suddenly realized I was carrying a whole lot of anger inside me. I remember that conversation the first time my friend Wayne, who was my counselor at the time, Wayne, who just passed away recently, he said to me, he said, "You are one angry person." I said, "Wayne, I don't think so. I think you're wrong because I hardly ever get angry. Even when I fight, I don't get angry." And Wayne said, "That is how angry you are. You are so angry that you live 24 hours a day, every second of your life in that anger, so you don't even feel it anymore." And I realized something is, as we got deeper and deeper into counseling, the more and more angry I became because all this anger that was carrying inside of me started to get turned up, started to get stirred up. And at one point, I really didn't even like to talk to Wayne anymore because every time he managed to hit another one of these triggers, next time he hit another one of these triggers, and then he sit there all nice and quiet when I was seething and raging and wanted to throw things and break things, and he sit there and ask me, "Why do you feel that way? Where is this coming from?" And I realized inside of me was like a bottomless pit of anger. I was angry because my father was not there for me when I was a child. I was angry because my family took me from a very comfortable living environment and threw me in a foreign country. I was angry that I was blind. I was angry that I was deaf. I was angry that my family went from being very rich to being poor. I was angry for leaving all my relatives behind. I was angry for leaving all my friends behind. I was angry for my mom was never there for me. There's just so much to be angry about that he was right. I was drowning in it. That's why I didn't even feel it. That's why when I fought, it felt so good because every time I fought, it was an expression of how angry I was. It was not a matter of just one day or 2 days or even the matter of a couple of months. It took me many, many years to work through all that anger, to come to terms with most of them and put some of them behind me. And even today, there are still some that linger. This is why I am very, very vigilant very strict with myself. Whenever I feel something, I ask myself, why do you feel the way you do? And for the most part, I'm very good at catching these triggers. For the most part, as soon as I feel them, I can identify, okay, this is not the current situation that is making me unhappy. This is just a reflection of the past. For example, when my girlfriend and I watched Pretty Woman, I think most of you have seen the movie Pretty Woman. I couldn't enjoy that movie. If you ask me on a subjective level, on an objective level, is it a good movie? How were the actors and actresses? I would say they were great. If you ask me, was it a good story? I would say, yeah, it's fine. If you ask me, how were the music in the movie? I said, they were pretty good. But if you ask me, did you enjoy that movie? I said, no, I did not. I didn't like it. It made me feel very, very bad inside. And instantly, after we watched the movie, I realized what was going on. When I asked myself, why don't you like this movie? It's because everything in that movie was a rich guy being able to spend all kind of money on a prostitute and never even care about uh, how much money he was spending and all that stuff. That remind me of the kind of family I came from. That movie and other movies like it always bring me back to the memory of my family losing its wealth. So while the movie is playing, the only thing I hear repeating again and again and again in my head would be, this could have been you. You could have had this, but you don't. Now you are a nobody. This is why I don't enjoy movies like that. The other day, my girlfriend and I watched another movie, and this one's called My Best Friend's Wedding. And again, it's supposed to be really funny, and the actors, actresses supposed to be really did a good job on it. Uh, the story was pretty decent, but I found myself again unable to enjoy the movie. At the end, um, I had to tell my girlfriend I don't really like it. And again, when I asked myself why, instantly I had the answer because the way the movie was, the way the protagonist, the lady who was going to attend her best friend's wedding and be the maid of honor to the bride. She's secretly in love with her best friend, and so she spent most of the movie trying to sabotage their wedding by doing a lot of little dirty tricks. That's supposed to be funny to the audience. I couldn't enjoy that movie because the entire time I was watching that, I was thinking of all the similar little tricks that my stepmother would play on me, would play on my mom, would play on other members of the family. Because my stepmother was very devious and she wasn't the confrontational type. She was very abusive physically when I was a child, when I was too little to defend myself. But when I was a teenager, then it all went into psychological. Like she would do things like sabotage my report card. She sabotaged my immigration paper, and even when I was going to college, she tried to get me deported from Canada. So the whole time I'm watching this woman in the movie trying to sabotage her best friend's wedding while carrying a smile on her face and being all buddy buddy with the bride and with her best friend. I'm thinking of my stepmother. There's nothing wrong with the movie. It's all inside my head why I didn't like the movie. So, like I said, I'm very fortunate in that, for the most part, I'm very good at catching these little triggers when they surface. But, like I mentioned in the very beginning of the movie, there are still instances where these things happen so quickly and so strongly that they will take me off balance. And I'm going to go through a kind of a WTF moment and be totally neurotic and unreasonable and not even know why. One such example was a couple of years ago when my girlfriend was visiting me, and then she ended up having to cut the visit short because she got a chance to go to Hawaii with her family. Now, I'm not an unreasonable guy. Like, uh, some people might beg to differ, but if you ask me, like when I'm here, nice and logical, that would you mind if your girlfriend go to Hawaii with her family and have to cut her visit with you short? I said, well, I don't like it, but if she has to go, she has to go. It's her family. I respect people who spend time with their family because my own family sucks so much. And yet, when this situation came up, it made me so angry that I was unreasonable, not even for days, I was unreasonable for several months. Uh, and it just hurt me so much that I myself couldn't understand why why am I being so butt sore about this? Why is this affecting me in this way? And it wasn't until several months later when I forced myself to sit down and look at how unreasonable I was and why was I doing this that I realized it's because of abandonment issue. It's because when I was little, a lot of people abandoned me. I'm not saying that they abandoned me on the street or in the orphanage, but when I came to Canada, my mom was not here to protect me. When I came to Canada, my father was not here to protect me. When I came to Canada, my nanny Maru, the one person who I always counted on as a child to be there to guide me and protect me, she wasn't here. I spent 2 years in a hellhole living with my stepmother, being abused every day. No one was there to protect me. And then when I went back to Taiwan, I thought everything was going to be fine again. And then after 3 years, my family decided to bring me back to Canada, and I have to go through the entire thing all over again, abandoning my friend, being abandoned by people who I thought I could count on. I spent my childhood being lied to, being abandoned and having to deal with broken promises. So when people break their promise to me, even though they have a valid reason, it can trigger me in a really, really big way because it just brings back all that assertion that maybe there's no one in this world I can count on. Only a couple of days ago, I had another one of these WTF moments. And in many ways, that is really the point of today's video. And I guess I'm using today's very long-winded way as an apology and as an explanation of sort. You see, me and my girlfriend, beautiful, intelligent girlfriend, we were talking, and uh, I don't even remember what she was asking me. She was asking me something about uh, people, how people interact, and why don't people ask questions. And I was answering her question, and I used the word advices. I said, because sometimes when people go to get advices, they don't always get the right advices from people. Now, she interrupted me and she said, "Can I ask you something? Why do you always say advices?" And I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "Because it's advice, not advices." And at that moment, I saw red in front of me. Like, uh, I, I hope I controlled myself adequately that it didn't feel that way, but I was so angry at that moment when she corrected me on that. And I went into this very defensive, very unreasonable thing about, okay, so you're just going to interrupt me on what I'm talking about because of a stupid word when you know what I'm talking about. Advice is advice, whatever. I hate this freaking language. I don't even like this language. It's not my first language, so bite me. I went, I flew off the handle. Uh, well, I didn't totally fly off the handle because I didn't really raise my voice that much, but I saw red in front of me. Like I just got really, really explosively, unreasonably angry all of a sudden. And it wasn't until almost 5 minutes into me getting angrier and angrier that I suddenly realized, whoa, 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 dude, what the hell? What's going on? Why are you so angry? She's right. It's advice, not advices. Just tell her she's right and move on with it. You know better than sitting there argue about it when you know you're wrong. Why are you doing this? Why are you feeling this way? That's when I sheepishly apologized, but I know I sounded kind of lame at the time, so today I want to use this video to say, because I know my beautiful girlfriend is always watching my videos, so I want to say again, babe, I'm really, really sorry that that happened. Uh, I realized afterward why I felt that way when I sat down and asked myself why. You see, what happened? And by the way, triggers do not excuse actions. So I'm not explaining it to justify me losing my temper. Me losing my temper was wrong. That's just it. It's my own trigger. It's my responsibility. But I want to explain it because this is an example of how sneaky triggers can be. When I first came back to Canada when I was almost 15, when I was 14 years old, back in 1995, because I have already spent 3 years in Taiwan, I've forgotten most of the English I've learned during my first trip here. This time when I came back, my brother, my stepbrother, my stepsister, and my stepmom, they didn't abuse me in a physical way because I was now too aggressive and too big to abuse. So they changed tactic to do psychological. And one of the psychological way they would abuse me was to embarrass me in front of friends and families. So very often when friends or families were over visiting or when we were out in public, my brother and sister would say, "Hey Johnny, do you know how to spell hippopotamus? Hey Johnny, do you know what consideration means?" And I kid you not, back then I really didn't know what consideration meant because it's too long of a word. I didn't know any word. I didn't really know any words that went past 5 letters. I was totally new at English at that point because I'd forgotten all the English I learned before. When we were out in public, when they could embarrass me, they would say, "Johnny, can you tell me how to say this sentence in English?" And when I said it, they would say exactly the same thing. "Oh, Johnny, didn't you know? It's advice, not advices. How can you be so stupid?" That's where that anger came from. It's been so many years, I all but forgotten about those experiences because I did something about it. When I decided that that's it, I was not going to let them bully me or embarrassing me anymore where my English was concerned. I would lock myself in my bedroom every day after school while my brothers, sisters were playing video games, shopping, having fun with friends, playing basketball. I was in my room memorizing the dictionary. I made myself memorize 5 words a day, every day. And I learned how to use these words. I learned how to put them in sentences. I learned how to write and spell them. I excluded myself from my own people. I exclusively hang out with English speaking friends. I wouldn't make any Chinese friends because I had enough of being picked on by people who wanted to embarrass me. And in the end, my English became a lot more fluent and professional than anyone in my family because of that. So when my girlfriend unknowingly said, "Why do you say advices?" that suddenly triggered that entire chapter of my life that I thought I had laid to rest. So, yeah, again, very sorry that happened, and I was wrong for losing my shit, and I will pay closer attention to what's going on inside in the future. And I think most of us, most of us can really benefit from paying closer attention to what's going on in our head. Why are things happening? Why do we feel the way we feel? Because by doing so, then we will not have so much misunderstanding and unreasonable and extreme reaction to things that were not other people's fault in the first place. Thank you for checking out today's Soul Search Sunday. We'll be back again tomorrow for Music Monday. For now, have a good night.